Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise Football Channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.
Okay, so as the intro says there, win, lose or draw, Dan. Today looks like a win. We're just about to finish the game. At the moment, it's 2-1 to England. Unless you're a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah, well, for once, I'm actually up with the game. There is about 2.5 minutes left by the calculation on the clock in the top left-hand corner of my screen. So yeah, hopefully we should be able to see this out and come away
it's
with
difficult coming in at this moment in time, isn't it? It felt a bit easier on San Marino, 5 up. And, not as difficult on the second game either. But this one, you're like, whoa, I don't know. We're in control.
Yeah, I think this was probably going to be, as we said, this was going to be our biggest test, And I think providing we can see the last 2 minutes out of it, if we come out of this one with 3 points, then, there's not really a lot that we can say, really. I mean, as we can see by the graphic that we've just put up, showing us the England squad from tonight, we put out probably a pretty strong squad. I mean, there'd be maybe a couple of changes that I would make from that team, maybe.
Don't give too many spoilers, mate. You got your Euros team coming up in a few months. We want to make them watch that. Subscribe for that, people.
Yeah, definitely. That's where you can subscribe, by the way. Rebellious Noise. There we go.
Rebellious Noise FC, anyway. But
RNFC.
Well, looks like it's going to be a victory. I think is it the third out of the eight games? Is it? I think it is for the for the World Cup qualifiers even.
Yeah, it all just merges into one. It'll probably be the World Nations Europa League Cup thing soon, but. Yeah. Oh, you best stop playing, mate. Chilwell's down. So, see, wouldn't have happened with Luke Shaw, mate. Shaw, Roberto Carlos would have just gone straight through him there. But yeah. But yeah, I think overall, it's been a decent game. Getting the penalty early, Harry Kane becoming the player that scored the most penalties for England, overtaking, I believe, Frank Lampard.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it would have been
so.
Rooney.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's either Frank or Wayne. I'm not too sure, but it's one of them. Either way, yeah. But it's hang on, long throw here from Poland. Way heads up, mate. That might hit you on the head in a minute. Yeah, it went somewhere up.
Not the right place, though.
Yeah. So, just think anyone on the M25 at the moment, duck, I'd say. So
okay, it looks like that about wraps it up, though.
Pretty much.
Well, hold on a second. You've got a different top on today.
Yeah, the other one's in the wash. So
yay! I think I celebrated that more than the goals.
So
well done, mate. Proud of you,
mate. So, yeah, I finally found out what that button does that says on here.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. So, okay, yeah. What about the game then? What do you think of the game?
I think it was always going to be our toughest test. I think the team that we put out. So we stuck with Calvin Phillips playing. He played every game. I think he's looked solid. As we said, that the final whistle has just blown, so has finished 2-1. But yeah, as I say, obviously Calvin Phillips playing in every single game, Sterling playing in every game, Pope playing in every game. That's really good. It's good for all of them, to get obviously their game time up as well.
I was
Sterling,
surprised
obviously.
about Sterling getting all 3 games, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought they would have given him a bit of a rest, but
Mm.
and it was good to see. Obviously, Kane played but didn't play the whole game. He got subbed off. They brought Calvert-Lewin on for him, so that was good. Obviously, Kane getting us off to a good start, and then the Poland goal. I think they pronounce his name Moder, Moder. I think he plays for Brighton. I think
Brighton, yeah.
Who scored their goal? A bit of a mistake from John Stones, but
yeah. Should we just go straight in with that then? I was a bit concerned because a few minutes earlier you had that Stones and Pope kind of mix up as well. When again, it just seemed an uncomfortable one. I don't know if you can really lay blame at anyone's feet, and you couldn't lay the ball at anyone's feet apparently because it was very sloppy, and the defender was pressing in hard, and obviously we were quite fortunate in the end that because I mean Pope was just straight up falling over, and then their defender kind of fell into him, so that kind of made it look more like a bit of a pressure thing. And then thankfully it ended up being a foul because if it weren't for that, you get a different referee on a different day might not have seen it that way.
Yeah, I mean, and just talking at the ref, the referee was Bjorn Kuipers, a Dutch official. He's really really experienced, and I thought he refereed the game really well. Actually, let it kind of flow. So, I don't like these referees when they just want to keep stop start every couple of minutes. But referees, I'm sure they get enough stick from the media. So, for us, it's nice to actually say. It's nice for us to say, well done. Some good decisions, ref. Obviously, giving England a penalty.
That's always good.
Get that opening goal, and but I think So just quickly going back to the John Stones thing, I think it's like we had one. For people that don't know, I'm a Man United fan, so when I refer to us, like I'm referring to my club team, Manchester United. So we had one obviously the other week against Leicester when Fred tried to play a back pass to the goalkeeper. That time it was, I think, Maguire had played him into trouble. But I think we're seeing it more and more now because teams are playing out from the back rather than like back when I was back when I were a lad. So yeah, back in like the mid 90s, I'd say, probably around the time of the flag in your background. When I used to play football, back when I wasn't like overweight and couldn't run for anything, but now I couldn't run a bath now, but
true.
But yes, back then it was just like as soon as you get the ball as a keeper, get it out, whereas now it's like put it on the floor. Everyone, even your goalkeeper's got to be a good footballer, like good with his feet kind of thing. And I think where you wouldn't necessarily expect that from John Stones is because he does it week in, week out at Man City. That's the Guardiola way. So he would be doing that with Edison like every day in training.
If there's any team to, come from and then be able to do that comfortably, I think it is City. So it is a shocker that it's Stones that makes that kind of mistake. Obviously he puts his hands up and he apologizes, but you got to think cutthroat though, isn't it? If this was the World Cup or the Euros,
I mean, I think
good enough.
When you look at the grand scheme of things, I think it won't matter too much because we won the game. I think if the game had ended as a draw, I think with these mistakes, I think you can forgive the mistake if you then go on and you still win the game. I think it's when it costs you points or it costs you some. Like if this was in a tournament and we went out on goal difference and it was that one goal. Yeah. Then
if this was in a tournament, what would happen is we'd end up getting a red card as well, and then we'd go out on penalties. So it'd be take a pick who's the bad guy today.
But I mean, to be fair, he did make up with it. So with the second goal, obviously the corner coming in and Stones then headed it down to his defensive partner Harry Maguire. Yeah, smashing one roof of the net. Really, really good finish actually from a centre half.
Well, exactly that. It shows the two sides of a centre back pairing, don't it? Like complete opposite side of the. I was going to say the ring there. Check out Wrestling Channel if you like wrestling. The complete opposite side of the pitch. For them to connect back there is good as well. And I think, like you say, we didn't lose, and he played a part in us actually getting back in front. So I guess he's redeemed himself there. It's just worrying that you don't always get those chances after making a mistake, and if it is a major tournament and that happens again, I don't think he's going to be punished for it. I don't think he'll be dropped. I mean, to be fair, you got between now and our next game is going to be early June, before the actual Euros. So, and obviously these World Cup qualifiers, I think they pick up against Hungary in September. So I don't think there's any time to even, I guess, drop him and try anything else anyway. So I don't think he'll be punished.
Yeah,
Hungary, and I don't think he should either. I'm just, But all in all, rest of the squad, again, like we said in the last game, I guess it's pretty close to what you'd imagine would be going to the Euros, starting the games at the Euros. Is there anyone there that stands out? I think you'd think maybe wouldn't that first 11. Obviously, we spoke a bit about Pope and Pickford in the previous 2 games after shows as well. But it's probably going to be Pickford. But I like the fact that Pope's had a lot of experience in the past few games. But anyone else you think glaring future omissions?
I mean, I think so. Going back on like the goalkeeping situation, I think it would have been so easy for Southgate just to like play. So he picked 3 goalkeepers, obviously in the squad here. He could quite easily have gone Sam Johnstone against San Marino, knowing that he's not going to have much to do. No disrespect to San Marino. He could easily have gone with with Dean Henderson for the Albania game, and then Nick Pope. So he could have rotated. But the fact that he's kind of stuck with Nick Pope, he's probably thinking, well, Pope's been in decent enough form for Burnley in the league, so let's give him an opportunity here. So he's put, I think, I think it could even, I honestly do think Pope could start. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Pope starts in the Euros for us. But
I would. I just not that I think he shouldn't, but I think I would just be surprised. I feel like it's still, to Southgate anyway, it's still Pickford shout.
Yeah. See, I think for me the Pickford thing all depends on how he goes between now and the end of the season, because I think we've seen this season he's made a few errors to a point where Carlo Ancelotti's actually dropped him for Everton, or as the managers like to call it, resting players. Or rotation, yeah. But he's dropped him for a few games and brought Robin Olsen in. And usually with goalkeepers, you see that kind of kick up the backside that will be like, right, okay, you've messed up, so now the punishment is you're going to sit out a game or 2. But I think if you're going to go into a tournament, you've got to be playing. For me, you've got to be playing week in, week out, and I don't think. See, I think if Pickford plays every Everton game from now till the end of the season, then he will probably start at the Euros. I keep going to say World Cup. He'll start at the Euros. But if you're saying who do I think should, so I think Pope should, but I think Pickford will. Yeah.
So do you not put any blame on Pope for any of the kind of mishaps happened today? Obviously, I don't think so much the goal, because although it was Pope and Stones back and forth, just like the other mishap was, that was all Stones in my opinion. Taking too many touches and not being decisive with it. He had a lot.
Get rid of it, mate.
Yeah. But then you could say, Pope slip. I guess people slip, don't they? But it was a bit, he didn't seem very steady on his feet at that moment in time. So if that would have led to a goal, do you think that could have maybe been something the manager to kind of think about?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I'd just say to him, just wear longer studs, mate. So you're not slipping everywhere. But,
long spikes.
Yeah, just wear like rugby studs.
Yeah.
I know that was always a favourite thing of, so my dad played as a goalkeeper, and that was one of his favourite things, was always used to like wearing rugby studs because they gave you better grip in the ground. So
very smart.
There we go. Just a little tip for the
hard.
Exactly. And they're metal studs, so they're going to grip the ground better for you. So there we go. Just don't drag them along concrete.
I was going to say, if you're any future goalies, but I don't know about regulation, if you might get in trouble, but, for now, give it a try, innit? Dan's recommended it. Give it a try.
Just don't sharpen them and you'll be all right. So yeah.
Just have them in your bag.
Yeah,
They away from everyone.
perfectly legal, so don't worry. They do
Oh,
fall
there we
in
go.
with the UEFA regulations and FIFA
There we go.
regulations.
Perfect.
So going back to it, I think so. Spoiler, I think it's going to be Pope, Pickford, and Henderson will be the three keepers. Now,
well, you say spoiler, things will change in a few months, but you're probably right. But yeah,
I mean, for me, it's my Man United hat on would say I'd like to see Henderson given a chance, but I don't think he's played anywhere near enough to warrant the 1 or 2 spot. I think Nick Pope has played well for Burnley to a point where he is actually in my Premier League fantasy team, has been all season as my goalkeeper. Very rarely let me down as well. He's been pretty solid. And obviously Pickford. See, the thing is, I think Pickford is, out of the 3, I think Pickford seems more likely to make a mistake. And as a goalkeeper, the last thing you want to do is make a mistake, because 9 times out of 10 as a keeper, mistakes lead to goals. Whereas if you make a mistake as a midfielder, you've got defense and goalkeeper to kind of bail you out. As a goalkeeper, it can be the loneliest position on the pitch, because as soon as you make a mistake, that's it. You're literally stuck. You're in your box. You're just like, right, where am I going to go from here? I just think, I think Pickford's a bit too erratic at times. So for me, I'd say Pope. As I say, I think Pope, but I think Southgate will go with Pickford. It's one of those where we know that obviously managers like certain players that they feel that they feel they can rely on. I mean, I'm not too sure I can remember Pickford doing too much wrong in an England shirt, but
no, I
for
mean, he was
Everton,
one of the heroes at the World Cup, wasn't he? He was
exactly.
one of those, cult kind of heroes at the time. So, but yeah, for Everton since then, I really thought he'd step on. I think, but it's not gone the way I thought it would.
I mean, you do get some players that notoriously are better when they pull on an international shirt than they are at club level. I mean, as we spoke about as well, like, if we're moving slightly down the pitch, like into the defence, like we spoke previously about the right back situation. Now, in this squad alone, he named 3 and has arguably left the 2 best sitting at home.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at the 2 best right backs to go to the Euros, then Alexander-Arnold is probably nailed on for the starting spot. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I would have on the bench, definitely, at least on the bench. But then if it's one of those, if you start one, you've got to obviously leave one out, unless you move Trent to more attacking, say like on the right wing, and then Wan-Bissaka behind him.
Well, that's the thing, like we were saying on the previous shows, that we've got a lot of players that are versatile, and like Trent is one of those players. Like it'd be, I don't know what's going on.
There's even talk
really
he could play in midfield as well at some point, like central midfield, because of his passing ability.
But even like, you got to think, if we're major competition, you go down to 10 men or something like that. You want players that can adapt. You want to be able to go, you know what, we're going backs to the wall. We're going to have this many here, or we're going to have these guys covering here. It basically ended up having 2 players from the same position. So like you say, kind of like one a right back, traditionally more back, and one more forward. But at the same time, the one forward is also a kind of a defender traditionally as well, so they can kind of help out when needs be. So they've got that in the back of their mind as well, but they can both forward when they need to be. So, I think the key is going to be versatility for us, and that's probably, to be honest, I think that's our biggest strength going into. I know this is World Cup qualifiers, but going into the Euros, obviously, has been a close competition. I think that's our biggest strength, is our versatility.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well that's why he likes players like Eric Dyer and Declan Rice, because they're not everybody's, like, everyone's cup of tea sort of thing. But Eric Dyer, for most of this season, has played at centre back for Tottenham, but for most of his England career, he's played in midfield. I mean, Declan Rice obviously has captained West Ham for most of this season, and he's been, I think, mainly in the centre of midfield, but he's just as comfortable playing at the back. I think there are some people that may turn around and say you could even have Declan Rice and Eric Dyer as a centre-back pairing. But then, bloody hell, that's a shock just come up on the screen. Germany 1, North Macedonia 2 result.
Whoa. Oh, who knows? Maybe Germany's the team that don't make the World Cup this time round.
Ooh.
Oh, you
sorry.
do have a lot of surprise. What happened
Yeah,
with who was Portugal and Luxembourg? What was the score of that? I think it was yesterday, 1-1 at half time. Because obviously Luxembourg beat the Republic of Ireland, didn't they? So, and everyone
Yeah,
was quite hard on the Irish for it. But then I saw the Portuguese were drawing with them at half time. I don't know if I imagine they won.
Yeah. Talking of Portuguese stuff, did you see what?
Yeah, go on.
Did you see what Nemanja Matic did to Bruno Fernandes?
I did not.
So when Bruno has gone back to United training, Matic has left on his locker a nice picture of the Portugal goal that Ronaldo scored that he stormed off the pitch about, but has photoshopped the line further back to say, oh, they did definitely clear it off the line. just left it on there. So Luxembourg-Portugal game, by the way, finished 3-1 to Portugal.
Yeah. Okay.
And
well, it's not so bad that they got the goal then, is it?
No. And yeah, so I think, if we just flick back to the squad for a few minutes, just having a look down the subs bench, it's like, I'm just thinking, so that the starting lineup, I think I would look at that lineup that he's put out there. Now, we've said about Pope, so if we say Pickford will start in goal, the back four, I think there's arguments for the two centre-backs there to be the nailed-on two that are going to start, Stones and Maguire.
Yeah, that's the way I see it at the moment.
I think the full-backs, now, although Luke Shaw's been in great form for United, it seems as though Chilwell is Southgate's first choice. So I can see Chilwell starting, and then if I would honestly go Alexander-Arnold at right back.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, I guess it's not really like what we would say. It's what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, so I think he will. Alexander-Arnold will play at right back.
Okay.
Moving into the middle, if Henderson's fit, he starts. End of that discussion.
Yeah, it's not looking like it though, is it?
But yeah, he looks like he's a bit like his injury looks like it's going to keep him out. But
shame.
You know, I've liked the look of Declan Rice. I think he's been solid when he's played there.
Yeah, I think he's done really well.
And Calvin Phillips, he's looking at high. I mean, it's really like, as much as you want to judge the players on the performances on the pitch, it's really hard to judge them against, no disrespect, San Marino, Albania and Poland.
Yeah.
You know, if it was, say, Italy, Germany and Spain that we've played, then you'd be like, right, okay, yeah, we've got some really good players on our hands here.
I mean, this is the thing with, like we were saying again in a previous two, that I just didn't think this was the best kind of preparation for the Euros, and I wish they added more friendlies in before the Euros. Now, I guess there's still time.
They may do.
Exactly, but yeah, like you say, like we were supposed to face Italy before the Euros, and obviously that's not happening at the moment. So yeah, it's just it's hard, like you say, it's hard to judge a minute.
Yeah, it's, as I say, like, even for like the defenders and the goalkeepers, it's like, would they really have had that much to do in over the 3 games? I mean, if you look at the total like combined shots faced in those 3 games, I mean, I'm not sure you'd be hitting. You may struggle to be hitting double figures with the amount of shots they've faced, and how can you really judge what your best defense is going to be if they're facing that few shots?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can only play the team that's in front of you. It's like when people say about like when Rooney first broke the goal scoring record. Everyone's like, yeah, but Bobby Charlton did it against these teams. Rooney did it against these teams. But Rooney could only score against the teams that were in front of him.
Yeah.
The manager chose to select him in those games. The manager could have given him a rest and said, right, we're going to keep you for the big games. And I think Harry Kane is probably well on his way to beating that record. I think...
Like I said, broke the penalty one today, so that's a first step, I guess, towards getting more records in an England shirt. But
And I bet it's the only time probably that you cheer a Tottenham player beating a former Arsenal player.
It's so confusing. I tell you, when he stepped up, I was like, yeah, go on. And then obviously I see Chesney in goal, and I was thinking, oh wow, Tottenham, Arsenal, oh, this is weird. And then like I said it to myself, weird. I literally said to myself, oh, this is an interesting kind of scenario. And then I was like, oh, but obviously, Kane, like England. I'm an England fan, this is England. He don't even play for Arsenal anymore. This ain't Arsenal. And then literally, but I couldn't help it. As soon as he did the step up, my head went, save it. It was like, Jesse, save it. I couldn't. It was just so weird. Like, it's weird enough cheering on Harry Kane anyway as an Arsenal fan. But obviously, when he's in an England shirt, I'm in an England shirt, so it's fine. But when you add an Arsenal player, or at least a former Arsenal player to the mix, and you have such a sudden death type, impact, between the two, like my brain just went, cheer for Chesney. And I was like, okay. It was so weird.
Like, it's hard for me as well, having like 4 City players in this, like in the starting lineup. You're like, oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
But then you look at how well they're playing, and it's like, at the end of the day, I'd rather them be playing well and be playing for my country than playing against us, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Say with Kane, I would never want him to be playing against England, so I'm pleased for that.
No, exactly. And I mean, the thing, like Sterling, as we were saying earlier, we're surprised that he started every single game. But I think he is maturing so much into like a top player. I had reservations at first.
I was really impressed. I mean, there was a few times, I don't know, like you get into, he's like that player, he's like that kid in the playground that pass sometimes. That's the only thing. But then so basically there was, he was getting in behind really well. And then sometimes when you thought it was too late for like a cut in, like a cut back, a little cross, he still managed to pull it off. The way he won the penalty, I thought, it's over. Like he's basically at the line now. It's over. But no, he still won the penalty, so that was quite impressive. And then not long after, if you remember, there was that bit where he went for about 5 or 6 players. And watching it live, I was like, pass, just pass. But then when you watch back the replay, and you're like, oh, he couldn't pass. And he did really, really well to get through them. Like even though he fell in the end, like he went for about five or 6 players. Maybe it was about 2 or 3, but it felt like 5 or 6. And yeah, I was very impressed with Sterling today, and like I said, I'm shocked that he's played the last 3 games, but I think he needed that in an England shirt. I think he needed to get those minutes back in.
Yeah, because I think they were saying his last England game was like September or something. So obviously he's had the world's had quite a break really from stuff. Yeah. But the fact that obviously he's just I think he's in the form of his life at the moment. So I think he's nailed on to obviously start at the Euros. Him, Kane. Yeah. I think the interesting one is when you've got Rashford fully fit. Does Rashford play? Where does he play? Because I think the 3 with Kane up front, the likes you got obviously Sterling and Mount and Foden played there today. I think they've done really well over these last few games that they've played. But then you got to think you've got players still to come back, like Jack Grealish. I think he's a top player as well. And so, as we've said, it's really nice for Gareth Southgate that he's got those options, that he can bring players in that are of good quality. If basically the way I always look at a squad is, if you're going in there with, say, 3 strikers, you want 3 strikers that are all slightly different, but they're all gonna get you goals. You don't want to be like, oh, there's gonna be one striker that's he only got 5 goals this season. He's got 20. He's got 15. So you're gonna be like, well, why is he taking that one? Whereas here, it literally could be a toss of a coin. Does Foden play? Does Mount play? Does Rashford play? Does Grealish play? And I think it's got to be on a game-by-game basis, really. Who's going to be the best player in that game?
Yeah, it's going to be from now to the Euro starts. It's going to be about, I think, who has the best form in the league and who doesn't get injured, really. Because I think come that first friendly, unless there's any more added in between, which I can't really see, other than maybe just a week before or something like that. I can't see him being added in April or May, obviously. So surely at this point he's going to start the friendlies with the Euros team. So there's not much chance to kind of make a claim if you haven't already.
Yeah, I think as well and I think the main thing as well he's got to think about is what system is he going to play, because obviously different players are going to fit into different systems.
Mm.
It's like if you're going to play, if he does play a 5 at the back, then it means that you're going to have to lose someone somewhere. So if he's going, say, with the 4-2-3-1, but then you're flipping that to a 5, what is it? Pretty much like 5-3-2 or something, or 5-4-1. It's like, okay, so who do you drop somebody from the midfield? Do you drop one of the wingers? It's just to say it's a nice problem, I think, for him to have, really. And
yeah. I think it's. I was thinking earlier when we were talking about the forwards and that, like that Vardy obviously is in a national retirement, and apparently you said to come back if he's needed, sort of thing. It seems like unless there's any kind of injury crisis, that's not going to happen at the moment. And because there was a point in this game when we were 1-1, and on commentary they were like, "Oh, who can they bring on?" Okay, well, Lingard and who was it? Who was warming up with Lingard?
Calvert-Lewin.
Calvert-Lewin. They were warming up, and I've been impressed with Calvert-Lewin as well. I've really enjoyed seeing what he's done in England's shirt. But then I thought, you know what? In the Euros, if you said that to me, I don't know how excited I would be. Like if we were 1-1 against Germany, and you said it was Lingard, and again, we said in the last episode, Lingard's been doing very well to get back into the team and stuff like that. Very impressive, but he still needs to do a little bit more for it to click and to get back into that full form for England on an international stage at a major tournament kind of level. And Calvert-Lewin is young and exciting, but we don't have that ready-made come off the bench. And I know Vardy won't want to come back to be the I'm coming off the bench guy. But how good would it be to have Vardy coming as the coming off the bench guy? I mean, you talk about stats. That's a man who's got some great stats in the Premier League. And I remember when saying that when we went to Euro 2016, I was very excited about him and Kane together, and that didn't exactly work out. But yeah, it's a bit. That's my only kind of worry there, is that we're missing, I guess, a prolific kind of like proven goal scorer. Oh, then again, he's not really done much in an England shirt anyway.
Yeah, and I think he's somewhat this season. He's been a bit overshadowed, really, by Kelechi Iheanacho as well. So, they've been like a good partnership, but Vardy's been more the provider, and Iheanacho's been more. But
then even in that sense, if he's setting up Kane, it would be good. But I think it's that coming off the bench fear. It's that fear of being 1-1 in 70th minute, and we're probably going to go out the Euros type feel, and we need someone to come on to make an impact. And they say and again, don't get me wrong, Lingard's been impressive the past few months. I think this loan move's done in wonders, but I wouldn't have as much confidence as if they said, "Oh, Vardy's coming off the bench now." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the same I think could be said for Mason Greenwood. I know like a lot of people internally at United are saying that he's probably the best finisher that they've got. But yet he's constantly playing out on the right. It's like they're playing Martial through the middle. They've played Rashford at times through the middle. But I just feel as though with the younger players, they've got that burst of pace and that burst of energy when they come on.
They're always the exciting ones, though, isn't it? Every Euros, like they play with no fear. That's who our hopes are on and stuff.
Yeah, and it's just they play with no fear as well. It's like they got Jude Bellingham on the bench as well. I'm surprised he's only played like a little tiny bit of this. You're thinking, okay, you're going to put the youngster there, at least play him a little bit, and Ollie Watkins as well has been in really good form for Villa. Yeah. So I think, it's a nice decision for Southgate to have, and a bit of a pain in the backside decision for me to have, because obviously I've got to sit and try and decipher this song. I've got a squad.
This song?
Sorry. This song. I'm sure people don't need to hear me sing. Trust me.
The song, mate. Just want to hear the squad.
Yeah. We just need a 23-man squad. I'll be doing that at some point. Hopefully, once I can get me bloody mop chopped as well, because this thing is getting a bit out of control. So
I think the rest of us are. The whole world's like that at the moment, mate. Speaking of which, this is apparently, well, if things go to plan, at least, this will be the last game that's behind closed doors, I guess, unless there's some weird thing that goes on in another country like we've had before with the racist abuse and we've had to shut all the fans out, or have a global pandemic. Yeah, this is apparently going to be the last one because we're supposed to have, I think, at least like 1,000 in for the first few Euros games, and therefore surely for the first few the friendlies just before it. So yeah, this should be the last time we hear that rubbish on the TV where they pump in the crowd noise, and you look at all the empty seats and go, well, that doesn't match up, does it?
Apparently, FA Cup final at FA Cup semi-finals. Sorry, they're
What, the first few
talking
fans?
will have fans.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's also talk, depending. So I think the 17th of May is when stuff reopens, and then they're looking at trying to get fans back for that weekend, like the first weekend after that. I think is the last weekend of the season.
That'd be cool, especially for whoever wins the league. That'd be fun for them, and whoever scrapes relegation or whatever else. But
Get 1,000 Man City fans in. It'll probably still be silent in the empty had, but
I knew you'd say something like that. Okay, before we get out of it, I guess there's one name we haven't mentioned because he hasn't been in the squad either, and that is Jack Grealish. I think he's going to be going into the Euros anyway because we've got no more England games to talk about for a while. Going towards those games that we will get to talk about in June, surely Grealish is going to get called into the squad, and everybody's going to be excited. I think that's the guy this Euros. If he goes, he's the guy we're all going to be looking at, pinning our hopes on. Like we've done it with Rooney, we've done it with Beckham, we've done it, with Gaza. It's just there's always one guy. Even Sterling when he broke into the team. There's always one guy that we think this is the guy, and I think this year it's going to be Grealish. Do you think it's going to be straightforward and he's going to get into the team, or do you think there's still a bit of a concern there?
I think Southgate will succumb to peer pressure and put him in. I think it's one of those strange things where he's left him out for so long, and then seemed like it was only because literally the entire media were like, "Why is Grealish not in the squad? Grealish needs to play
all the time." Yeah,
and then so he's like. It's literally like he's gone, right, okay, you've asked for Grealish. There's Grealish. What can he do? And then he's just literally lit up in an England
It's such a shame
shirt.
that he hasn't been able to make it for these games because I do think this would have been where he would have cemented that place. I still think he probably is going to go, but there is still that background worry of why weren't he in the team for so long? Why did it take Southgate so long? And you know what I mean? Like there is something in Southgate's mind that makes him think, nah, I'm not going to do it. But
the amount of games he's dragged Aston Villa through, this season, especially. I mean, he has been probably one of the standout English players in the Premier League this season. I'd probably go definitely in the top 5, English players this season in the Premier League. I think it'd just be a travesty if he doesn't go now. I think he has to. Whether he starts or not's a different point altogether. But
for me, starts.
I'd rather have the thing is, but then if he starts, who do you drop? That's the thing. And where does he play?
Well,
he plays as normally as a number 10 behind the striker. But then Southgate said before the reason he didn't pick him was because he sees him as a winger, and he's got enough wingers.
This is why I feel like this period would have been good for him because he kind of would have nailed it in a position as well as just getting in the squad. And it would have been good for him to kind of be like, yeah, this is what we're going to... Because he's going... And don't get me wrong, when he got called up to England, like I said, he did do well in the Nations League and that. But he's not been able to show a lot for England. And what you do in this particular setup, still a lot of the reason why people want him to go is based on what they've seen him do for Villa. So we really need time for him to get into the England squad before the Euros, so maybe those friendlies will be enough. I hope so, but if that's the case, I think he needs to start. If Southgate's not sure, I think in those friendlies he needs to start, and then come first day of the Euros, you've got a real decision to make.
Who do you think he drops though? So basically, if you're saying you're going with Kane up front. And say he's having 3 players that play behind Kane. So if he's going for the 4-2-3-1, who are the 3 that play behind Kane? I think Sterling's nailed on.
Yeah.
But then do you play Sterling coming from the right or left? Do you play him through the middle? That's
but I guess
another
you
talk.
can switch it up depending on who else you want to put in.
Yeah, see, I like the look of Foden as well and Mount.
Yeah, see,
This
I
is the
don't
thing,
think.
it's
See,
like-
I think I'd rather start with Grealish and see how things go, and maybe in certain games bring him out. And
Yeah.
Foden, as much as I think Foden is amazing, I think the next World Cup is his tournament where he shines, and because he will be. We always have one, like I just said, like he's going to be the guy. I think Foden's going to be the guy that we all want to. Oh, he's going to be the one that brings the World Cup back to England. So
like
I think,
one more full season with City, like in the first team at City.
I think this competition is going to be a bench competition for Foden. I don't think he's going to start.
So you reckon it's going to
quite
be
there yet?
So you'd say what? Sterling, Grealish, Mount, or Rashford?
I'd say Sterling, Grealish, and Rashford is what I would say. That's what I'd like to see. And then with the possibility of bringing Mount, depending on the game, have Mount in, and then have Foden. And again, depending on the game, if you face a lesser team, that sounds like I'm being disrespectful to those guys, but I'm not. I just think they would be better. I'd be so excited, like I said about Suns, I'd be so excited if Mount and Foden were coming off the bench.
Yeah, they're definitely going to bring in, obviously, that youth to the team as well. And, they look really comfortable in an England shirt. And we've not even talked about, that's not even correct English. We've not even spoken about Calvin Phillips as well, like how well he's done the last 3 games that he's played as well.
Yeah.
I thought he'd probably be one of these players that's on the peripheries. He's, again, another player that can play centre-back and in the centre of midfield. But then I'm thinking he's similar. He's in a similar mould, really, to your Declan Rices and your Eric Dyers. Do you take 3 of them? Do you take 2 out? I think you take 2 out of those 3.
I don't take Dyer. Maybe that's a Tottenham bias. I think he was good in the World Cup, don't get me wrong. But I don't. I don't take Dyer because when you give him,
you don't want Tottenham players in there, all right? We know.
Well, no, I do. No, obviously, I've got to accept Kane. But
I have no choice with City players. Like, if I say, don't take Walker, don't take Stones, don't take Foden, don't take Sterling, I'd be like, I've got no team there.
You'd be pretty screwed then. Yeah. But I'd like to see the others. I think Dyer out of those 3, Dyer's the one I'd drop. But then you say the versatility as well. But I think Rice is that kind of like anchor now. He's got to be there for me.
Yeah, I think he's definitely nailing down that position. But then I think if Henderson's fit, I think him and Rice would be a very good complementary pairing in that midfield. And I think they could be. I'm not going to say obviously similar to Gerrard and Lampard because obviously people are like, they couldn't play
You've
together.
Done it now, mate.
But I always did like them, and
I would have liked to see them together, but obviously it's not looking likely for Henderson. Maybe we'll get lucky, but that is what I was assuming was going to be the plan. But obviously that's changed things, and a lot of things could change between now and the end of the season. We know what injuries can be like, so.
There's 7-8 games left. So I think Southgate's going to want players wrapped up in cotton wool, but then obviously
you've got Champions League games. You've got and obviously the end of the Champions League, the big games and the FA Cup final, semi-finals, and Carabao Cup final as well. A lot of Spurs and City players obviously are going to be involved. So all of them, I bet a lot of them from the team will be involved. So it's going to be interesting. But hey. It's been good, Dan. It's been good talking about England once again. We'll be doing this just before the Euros. We'll be back for the friendlies, and we'll be gearing you up for the Euros just as we'll be getting excited ourselves for it. Between now and then, we'll have a lot more football content now, so please subscribe to more of our Rebellious Noise content in general, all of our other channels. But here on RNFC, we're going to have a lot more previews and predictions and match reactions and stuff like that, and full-blown features. So if you like football, stick around. It's going to be good.
It's the place to be.
It is indeed. All right, brilliant, Dan. So anything you want to say before we get out of here?
It's coming home, mate.
I knew you'd say that. All right, maybe it is. Maybe it's not.
There we go. Nah.
Welcome to RNFC, the official Rebellious Noise Football Channel, where you'll find content such as goal hanging, live match reactions, as well as news and opinions on all aspects of the beautiful game. We will also cover some of the more cultural side of the sport, such as kit reviews, football nostalgia, and in-depth historical pieces on those who built the game that we love today. So win, lose or draw, make sure you subscribe before the full-time whistle blows.